Hi, good morning. Welcome to our Wednesday coffee run. And it is all about, so Wednesdays are all about Q&A, making sure that your questions are answered so that you can get yourself out there, start getting some results online and things like that. So the first question, if you've got any questions that you've got, burning questions, or maybe not quite so painful questions, morning Jez, that you've got rolling around in your head that you want to ask me, please feel free. Good morning, Tamara. Please feel free to go ahead and type them in. I'd love to answer them for you and we will go from there. So the big question that I've had this week that I thought I would help you with is around advertising, and more specifically around how to write your ad copy. Now, I want to just make a couple of points around this. I'm going to step you through a framework that you can utilize for the writing of your ads, the text of your ads, to give you a bit of a framework. Now, bear in mind that it's still going to require testing, measuring, tweaking. Hey, Annika. And you having a little bit of a play around with what's going to work for you and for your audience. This disclaimer is this is a framework. Some of the best ads that I've seen are some that my clients have written and things like that, where it might be a poem. Okay, so it doesn't have to necessarily follow this exact framework in terms of how you write it, but it'll give you a really good starting point. It'll give you something to be able to test. And then you'll actually see, depending on the way that you write, you will see different patterns perhaps emerge, and you'll be able to see that even if you were to write a poem, that it actually still follows this kind of framework. Okay, so just bear all of that in mind. It is going to require some testing, measuring, tweaking, and things like that. Now, why it's important to follow this type of framework, it's the same if you, so I'm writing a book blurb at the moment, and that's a little bit like some ad copy. Let me tell you, it's driving me freaking spare. But for example, like one of my friends has written this book called Visual Thinking. Emma Bannister, huge shout out to you. This is one of my most favorite books. It's super colorful and beautiful, and the back blurb is kind of short, sharp, punchy, it's clear, and it actually kind of follows this very similar framework that you're going to use for your ads. If you look on the back of some other books, you will see that it follows it follows a very similar framework. So before we do that, what you need to know before you start writing anything, I want you to grab your pens, grab your piece of paper, and you're just going to write audience on the top, right? Now, this is probably one of the most controversial topics that I talk about, in the sense that everybody has got their own ideas and their own opinions around who their audience should be, or they want it really broad, or they can't narrow it down enough, and why do I have to do it? There's usually this audience topic can become a little bit heated. So the first thing you need to do though, in order to make this easier for you, is who is the audience that you are targeting with this ad, not the interests that you're targeting, not the pages that you're targeting, not the magazines, not that type of thing, but more who is the audience. And then I want you to grab your little pen or big pen, that was random, and I want you to write down what are the 3 big problems that they talk about all the time in their words. So maybe the first point is, let's look at a life coaching example. Now, let's say that your audience is a woman who is perhaps 45 years old, who has older children, and I'm just writing this down so I can remember. 45 years old, has older children, working part-time, she's married. But, one of the problems is that she's starting to feel a little lost. So, I just don't know. Maybe she's saying, I just don't know, I feel like I could be doing more, but I don't know what that is. I feel like I don't kind of fit. So don't fit might be what she says. Then the next piece might be, I feel like I'm just tired all the time, and I feel like I'm not needed. Okay, so let's say that that's the 3 problems that she says she has, I just don't really fit anymore in the things that I'm doing. Good morning, Neil. I feel like I'm tired all the time. That's problem number 2. The 3rd problem might be, I feel like I'm not needed anymore. Particularly if she's got older children, the way that she contributes to them and almost to the world it starts to be very different, right? You're needed by your kids in a different kind of way. So if they're the 3 big problems that she has, that's great. Okay, so this is the first piece. The second piece, actually, we know who your audience is, and then we know what their 3 big problems are. Now, is there a 4th problem that they don't really talk about? And that might be, I feel, maybe she's feeling a little bit down, or maybe she's feeling unloved. She wouldn't go out and tell anybody that. It's just kind of rattling around in the back of her head. Maybe she just doesn't really feel just feels a little bit unloved and a little bit unneeded. So then we go, okay, great, that's awesome. What does she want? Or what does he want? What does your audience want? And I want you to write down 3 things that they want. They want to feel happy. They want to feel valued. She probably wants to feel like she matters. Okay, so we've got to do this framework. We've got to do this pre-work before we get out and write your ad copy. Okay, so she feels like, let's just recap. So the audience is a 45-year-old woman who's got older children, working part-time. She's married. The business that I'm giving this as an example with is with life coaching or things like that. So the 3 problems that she has is she doesn't feel like she fits anymore. She's tired all the time, feels like she's not really needed. The thing that rolls around in the back of her head is that she's feeling a little bit unloved. What she wants is to feel happy, feel valued, and feel like she matters. Great. So how are you going with that? We good? You with me? Give me some little reactions. Let me know that you're with me. Because then what we're going to do is we're going to start to look at, all right, well, what is the solution that you are going to promise her or him in your ad? What's the solution? Thanks, Jez. Excellent. Thank goodness this is hitting the mark. Okay. So, or maybe it was Kim. So what is the solution that you're giving? Maybe it's the 3 steps to finding your purpose. Okay, so this is where the free thing that you're going to give away, your lead magnet, your IP, whatever it is, what is the thing that you are going to give away for free that is going to solve these problems? It might be the 22 steps to rediscovering your joy. I don't know, whatever it is. So we give them the solution, we tell them what it is, and then we need to give them a call to action. So click this link to download, right? Or register here for my webinar, or go here to download the book, or join the video training here. Tell them specifically the call to action, what they need to do in order to access that solution, okay? So once you've got all of that drafted, you can pick maybe 2 of those problems to address in your ad, maybe 1 of those problems to address. You'll talk about usually the 3 goals that they have. So if you've had enough of feeling like you don't really fit and like you're not needed anymore, and you want to feel happy, valued, and like you matter, I've put together a free guide that you can download. It's the 3 steps to finding your purpose. Click this link here and download it. Okay, you might say, If you're the kind of woman who is used to feeling really needed by their children, and all of a sudden, almost like magic, all of a sudden they don't need you as much anymore, and it's kind of left you feeling a little bit tired and like you're just not sure where you fit. If you really want to feel and really want to discover how you can feel more happy, how you can create valuable relationships in your life, and make sure that you do feel like you're doing something that matters, then you can download this book, The 3 Steps to Finding Your Purpose. Just click the link here and download it. Okay, so we can mush around these framework steps and turn those into ad copy. Okay, so the other thing that you could try, this is very much just to give you some context, we've got a pain to pleasure to goal to solution kind of pathway, right? So we start off with the pain. So the pain is that sad thing, not fitting in, not, feeling tired all the time, not feeling like she's kind of like needed anymore, or feeling a bit down and unloved. That's a pain. That would be a pain-based opening. And then we go into pleasure, which is like you want to feel like you're happy, you're actually valued, and like what you're doing matters. We can actually, depending on what your audience is going to respond to, you might test doing it upside down, which is why the framework in place first is really helpful. So you might test, really all you want in your life is to feel happy and valued and like what you do matters. But let's be honest, right now you're feeling like you're kind of tired all the time and you're not really needed. If you want to find a way that you can rediscover your purpose, download my 3 steps guide. Okay, so you can open with pain to pleasure, or like working from the pain to fixing that pain, or you can address on the other side, you can address what they want, but this is what you're really dealing with, and this is how we fix it. Let me know if that's helpful. I know that this is kind of big, but it's the type of thing that if you do this kind of groundwork, it's really going to be helpful for you when you then start to write your advertising copy. Now, if you like to write in a bit more like a poem, for example, you still can write in that type of framework. Okay, if you decide that you want to write it in as a limerick, you could try that. I saw a really successful ad campaign by someone in the States, which was roses are red, violets are blue, your ad copy sucks, you don't need to, or like something like that. It was really hilarious. So, you can kind of play around with it, but start first of all following the framework, following that, and then see what happens. And usually what happens is that you start to get a little bit more creative. You start to find little things that you're like, oh wow, I might just try this. Get out and try it. Because it's in that tweaking that your stuff becomes more like you. It starts to reflect a bit more of your personality, but we've got to start usually with a framework first. All right? So that's really me for today. I wanted to just make sure that you had some ideas with how to write your ads, because that's often even more, that's one of the most important pieces. It's not just about the targeting. It's not just about the way, what you're, it's not just about what you're optimizing for. It's not just about the image that you use in your ads. A big part of it is around the copy that you're writing. So the copy is the text that you're building out together. All right, everybody. Good morning, Kate. Thanks for joining in. Hope you enjoy the replay. All right, guys. Have a beautiful and amazing Wednesday. I have got a very full day in front of me. I'm running a webinar. If you want to come out and hang on that, I might share a link with you so that you can do that. I've got some coaching, I've got some mentoring, I've got a whole lot of scheduling to get sorted, and I'm really looking forward to a super awesome kick-ass day. Hope you are too. Take care, have fun, and I'll talk with you tomorrow.